You're listening to the T21 podcast, brought to you by Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks. Our mission is to bring life and wellness to families who are advocating towards a community of inclusion for individuals with Down syndrome. Hello and welcome to the T21 podcast. My name is Chloe Jones and joining with me today is Amy Bullard.
Hello.
And two special guests that I'll introduce in just one moment. But today we're going to be talking about welcoming a newborn with Down syndrome, and I'm excited to get to that. But first, I just wanted to invite you to subscribe to this podcast and like the video and share it with any friends and family. We want to get this information out to as many people as possible, and you can help us do that. Well, on to today's topic. And first, I want to say Happy World Down Syndrome Day.
Yay.
It is March 21st, and so we're excited to be talking with our families that are locals and celebrating people with Down syndrome in all that we do today. So, well, welcome. We have Jon and Natahle Middelkamp. They're good friends of mine, and they have 5 littles, and their smallest with Down syndrome, his name is Rhett, and he is just the cutest thing. Their whole family is so awesome, and people I really look up to. So we're glad to have you on.
Thanks
Welcome.
for having us.
Did you want to do like a little intro about who you are and your family with Rhett involved?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
Jon and Natahle, we've been married for almost 14
yes.
years. Wow. We have 5 little kids. Our oldest is 11. We have 2 girls, 11 and 9, and then our little boys are 7, 5, and Rhett is 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, he's so big.
He's getting so
Yes.
big.
The
So
first time I
big.
met him, he was so tiny,
he was so
on
tiny.
oxygen in like his little car seat.
Yep.
Just
Oh
a
my
little
goodness.
squishy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like a little man.
I know,
Running
walking
His
around,
haircut.
having all kinds of opinions.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
One of my favorite things that he does is when you say, "What does a sheep say?" He goes, "Bah." Just stares. And it's so
He's got it down,
cute. So cute. Well, something that you guys do really well is inviting the Down syndrome community. Anytime we get a new family, you're one of those connections. So through Down Syndrome Group of the Ozarks, which is our sponsor for the podcast and our organization that we work with. Also, pause. If you hear littles, they're in the back. They might pop in, and I hope that they do. But just in case I heard one of them.
They came with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things you do is you deliver newborn baskets to families and welcome them. And I can't wait for you to share just one story even of
One? Okay.
all of them if
Yes.
you'd love. We have 21
Right.
minutes, but we can do
Okay.
it.
We can do whatever we
But
need.
that's a big part of what you do. What is the importance of that and kind of what you've gone through and why you work with families in that way now?
When we were pregnant with Rhett, we got his diagnosis pretty early, like 11, 12 weeks, first trimester for sure. And I remember that when my doctor let me leave the office, she gave me your information and said, you need to get in touch with them. It's a great organization. And it was during COVID and everything was so isolating and we were so nervous, more than anything, just about Rhett's health and whether or not he would even make it here to this side of pregnancy. And when I reached out, you guys were so quick to respond with a mama that had a little one. And she was gracious enough to come to our house in the middle of the COVID era when nobody would do anything, bring us a basket and tell us congratulations. And I remember how much that meant to both of us to hear the words congratulations instead of something like I'm sorry or oh no or oh my, any of those things. And I just remember having such a peace when Sherry left because she got out her phone and she showed us Gabe and his sister. And I think we both just realized, like, we're just welcoming a little human.
Yes.
Like, this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think I had so many questions and we just didn't know what to expect going into it, but that was such a calming experience for us just to understand, you know, hey, we've got a baby on the way. They're going to eat, poop, cry like any other
Just
baby.
like
And so there's not anything to be scared about, worried about. And that was a really comforting
And I
experience
think
for us.
before that experience, I think both of us thought we needed all the answers.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
how do we tell our bigs about this?
Yeah.
How do we tell other people about this? What kind of care is he going to need? What kind of support are we going to need? And I think by the time she left our living room that day, we realized, like, we just need to plan on welcoming a new baby and take each step as it goes, which is really what we want to encourage moms and dads to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I
That's
love it.
so awesome. So after meeting new parents, like how do you talk to them? Because I know that there's some parents that meet you with that, you say congratulations and you walk them through that path, and then there's some parents that might still be a little reserved.
Yeah.
So how do you walk families through the rest of it?
I really try to get them to let me meet them face to face, because I think that makes all the difference in the world. But they always get a text from me and say, like, the first thing I want to do is welcome you to the Lucky Few and congratulations, you're in for such an exciting ride. And a lot of the parents will let me bring Rhett with me, which cool. I think is really encouraging, because I just say, you know, once I meet a human with Down syndrome, once I got to experience them, nothing feels as scary as what literature online will tell you, or even, you know, what your high-risk doctor will tell you that they're watching out for, which we're thankful that those doctors are protecting our little ones during pregnancy. But as a mom, some of those things are really hard to hear and they're really scary. So I think that's what I tell them. It's like, you just have a baby. And as mom and dads, what we do with all of our kids is we figure out what our kids need to thrive and to be happy, and then we find a way to meet those needs. And that's what we would do with Rhett, and it's what we do with our other kids that don't have an extra
You meet
chromosome.
that challenge as it comes versus pre-planning for the challenge,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
I think that's really comforting, because I think the unknown is for every baby,
It's for
right?
every baby.
And so, you know, you can have a child without Down syndrome that has just as many needs as a child with Down syndrome. So I think just meeting it as it comes is very comforting for families to hear.
But I think in that newborn stage, a lot of us our nervous systems are on such high alert, because either we've gone through the pregnancy being monitored weekly a lot of times with a ton of different procedures to make sure that these babies are safe. And a lot of us also spend some time in the NICU afterwards, making sure that our babies have what they need. So everything feels intense and everything feels maybe even a little hard sometimes, but to have somebody just even a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road that can say, like, it is hard right now, but I promise you, like, there's good and it's easy and you don't have to have all the answers, makes you kind of take a big deep breath and, like, let it out and realize that it's okay to just be in the moment.
I love that. I love that. So is there resources that are positive that you give to families?
Yes.
Okay, what are
Obviously,
those?
I steer them towards DSGO and our groups.
I put,
And
you don't have to say DSGO.
I do, because it's such a great resource. And it's so nice to meet the different families, and it's so nice to have the online chat where we can say, like, hey, does anybody else have, like, this specialist? Has anybody else had this problem? Does anybody else know of a creative solution for this? That's great. But I also introduce them to different organizations that also want to welcome their baby, like Rising Kites, Jack's Basket, and I try to give them a list of different things that say, like, these people are with you as well. And then I sometimes will even show them a couple of the people that I follow on, like, Instagram that have kids or adults that are older with Down syndrome, because I think it's really great to see somebody not in the same stage that you are as well, and that have been encouraging to me. So that's usually what I try to hand them at the beginning.
I love that, because it's not a one-size-fits-all approach for everyone.
Not at all.
And you're meeting a lot of different families. And so, you know, although I would love to say DSGO is the best, for sure, there's definitely other organizations to support other needs. So
and I think a lot of the literature you'll typically find online, it's very medical in nature. And so it's really good to get some of that, whether it's books for other kids, or there's any sort of resources really just celebrating that baby exactly as
and
they are.
A lot of it online can be negative too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's scary to deep dive into that.
It goes to the worst case scenario.
That's why I try
right
to point
away.
out,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
accounts that I have followed for years, accounts that are cheerleaders for our friends with Down syndrome, accounts that really highlight exactly who they are and loving them just exactly as they are, so that they don't hit the wrong hashtag and go down a scarier road.
And that leads to our next question, but I also wanted to say something in our newborn baskets that we provide. So a newborn basket, you mentioned you bring it to families. We also deliver them to the hospitals, so that families in the NICU, if they don't want to reach out to us for whatever reason, they can be given it that way. So, and then whenever they're ready, they can reach out to us. But it has now, I've kind of changed it a little bit, but it has a ton of kids' books in it. And I love that. And there's actually one book, it's called Hannah's Superpowers, and I wish I knew the author, but it talks about all of the medical things. It also talks about all of like the incredible things about her personality and like the things that you don't see on Google whenever
exactly.
you go on these rabbit holes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that, like having little kids' books to show the siblings.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love them.
And also for our kids to grow up with pictures and illustrations that look like them as
Yes.
well.
Yes, for sure. And I think that's becoming more common, right? Like back, even 30 years ago, that wasn't a thing.
Right.
And so now we've got even Barbies, right? That are helpful play tools. So, what is one misconception about Down syndrome that you wish that other people knew?
Especially even new parents that have said this to you, or
And that you wish they understood more about?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing for me going into it was having, whether it was a fear or just the unknown of how having a younger sibling with Down syndrome would affect our other kids.
Right.
Like I had no idea how they would deal with that, if that was something that would negatively impact them. But
Right.
I mean, honestly, I think it's actually gone quite the opposite. And I've seen them really celebrate everything that Rhett does. They're always the first to jump in there and help him with sign language or anything that he needs, and just celebrate all the little things that he does that are really hard. Like I think of the time where he probably spent months trying to crawl up the stairs in our house, just like trying, and finally, months into it, he finally got to the top, and everybody was just jumping around and dancing and celebrating with him. So actually, I like looking at that. I think they've learned so much more having a younger sibling with Down syndrome.
Yeah. And I think, too, with that, like, adults are harder on a topic than kids are. Kids are much more accepting of just, like, anything. And so I think we worry about what if, and
Right.
the kids, they're like, whatever, this is my norm, right?
I think that's what parents do anyways, because I remember even when I had one and I was going to two, I remember on the way to the hospital thinking, like, how did I just leave my baby with somebody overnight so that I could go have this baby? I don't know how this is ever going to work. How could I possibly love baby number 2 as much as I love baby number 1? But it's just how our brains are wired.
Yeah.
Like, we worry about what we have in front of us until that new baby is here. But you're right. Like, it's completely changed the dynamic of our family. Our family has learned that we can do hard things and that hard things are good. And I think that it just more, it solidifies the fact that we aren't our accomplishments. Like, that's not what we strive for. We have worth just because of who we are. And I think that that's a really good thing for small children
Oh, yeah.
to learn young. Like,
Work
if I would have
hard for
learned
what
that
you get.
25
Be
years ago,
flexible. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, right?
yeah, I
The
think
things we
that's-
could have benefited, right?
I think that's a misconception.
Yeah,
the most.
absolutely.
I love that. I love that answer.
it is so fun. I love going to your house to hang out with you guys and your kids, because I just soak up all of your parenting little tips that you do, because it's just so natural for you. Like, if one of them is struggling with anything, you're like, what kind of brother are you? Like, are you, what do you say? Are you gentle?
You're
Are
a
you
good boy. You're
Yes.
a good brother. You're
I
a good
love
friend.
that. I love it. Like, those are the things that are celebrated, and I love it.
Sometimes
need to
little kids
come
need to be reminded of that.
Yeah,
into
yeah,
your
exactly.
house.
Sometimes I need to be reminded of that, you know?
We all do, yes.
Does that, I think that a lot of parents hearing your story probably are still like, oh, but what's going to happen with the siblings when they're a little older, when they're teenagers, when they're adults? Are these things that you've thought of, and how do you feel like you're going to navigate that? And I bet your kids will take that
Yeah.
amazingly.
Well, and I think, one of the great things that we have experienced with DSGO is some of those events where we've met different families in different stages of life. And, whether it's people, newborns, people that have toddlers, grade school, even grown adults. And you get to see how those family dynamics work. You see siblings that are just doing everything that they can to advocate and care for for the brother or sister with Down syndrome. And I think that's been a really helpful resource to kind of peer into the future and see what it can be like, and that it's not scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know you wanted to volunteer at, we have life groups. So they're a huge part of our Journey life group, obviously, since Rhett was a little baby. So Journey is prenatal diagnosis through pre-K. And then we have a Discover life group, which is elementary. Adventure is middle school.
In high school.
In high school.
Yeah.
They say junior and senior high. I didn't grow up saying that, so it didn't come naturally. And then we have an adult age group, which is Launch. And they want to come to the Adventure and Launch Life group just to hang out and say, oh my goodness, I think that is such an amazing idea. And parents should do that more. I've actually, since you've asked that, I've told other parents that. And they're starting to sign up to volunteer
that's
with the
great.
older kids and with local events like Night to Shine. I'm like, this is a place that you can come if you're worried about the future, or like this is where you can see a small glimpse.
A small glimpse, and that's all you need, just a small glimpse, because we don't have anything guaranteed for any of our futures, but the small glimpse is all I need to know that everything's okay. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like if something happens to John and I, our kids are going to go to blows on who regret stays with, wants to live with
They will
somebody.
fight each other.
Yeah,
And they'll all live together.
they might. They might.
I mean, it's fine.
I mean, they're little still. We don't know.
Right.
Right.
But I know that you could bring any of them out here, and they would all tell you that their favorite is Rhett and that they are Rhett's favorite. Every one of them would tell you that.
They would believe it. Yes.
That would be so fun to get
Right, exactly.
none of them know it.
Right? Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
Well, before this podcast, I actually asked Sarah, who's behind the camera, just what question would you ask them? And I love what she asked. It is, what has been the most unexpected joy in the journey so far?
I think it's been watching how other people also connect with Rhett and become a part of his team and celebrate him. He has this, the best word I can use is magical. He has this magic about him where he can be intuitive and gracious at 2 and 3 years old, and immediately like build these connections where, when we have to go to the hospital because he's sick, we have nurses that meet us in the lobby and give him a hug and tell him they're going to wait for him when he gets upstairs. And he has still NICU providers that are in our lives in a very real way that love him and advocate for him, and also for other parents that are welcoming children with Down syndrome because they didn't realize what a gift it was until they met him. And I think that has just been that he's not only a gift to us, but he's a gift to everyone that he's met.
He definitely is a gift.
He
Like,
is.
I just remember that little tiny
I
baby
get so
that you were
teary-eyed thinking
carrying
about, like,
around.
what a gift we
and I
have.
was like, can I please peek at him? And so I pulled your thing down and I looked at him and I was like, and then the next year, and I saw him again and I'm like, oh my gosh. And just to celebrate his victories, over the years.
Yeah, and I think it's cool just to see his personality blossom. It's like he's never met a stranger.
Right?
I wish
And
I
he has
had
great boundaries.
Yeah, I
He's
wish
like,
I had the
no.
confidence he has. But yeah.
He's told me no before. No. I'm like, hey, can I hold you? No.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and he's starting to have like opinions on
Yeah,
what he wears. He's very
exactly.
clear with me about what he will and will not wear. We had pictures taken for the family a couple weeks ago, and I tried to dress him into like a little puppy dog shirt because I wanted him to still look like a kid. And he looked at me and goes, no. I said, well, what are you wanting to wear, bud? And he went directly over to his closet and picked out the shirt and laid it down and said, I was like, oh, that makes you look like a big boy. And he said,
Put it on, buddy, put it on. And I love that.
yeah.
I do have one final question. If you had one thing to say to a new parent that maybe just got a diagnosis, other than you already said congratulations, but what would you say? Because there might be somebody that's going to watch this podcast that hasn't reached out.
Reach out.
Reach out.
to somebody individually, whether it's a mom on Instagram that you need to know anonymously, even if you're not willing to have like a face-to-face conversation, reach out. Because fear is a jerk, and it's really hard not to have fear when we're worrying about getting this baby through a healthy pregnancy. It's really hard not to, but fear is a jerk and it is a liar, and all of our humans with Down syndrome are a gift and a joy and perfect exactly as they are. And I guarantee that when you get the joy of meeting one,
Yeah.
I get all emotional.
I
I'm
love
sorry,
that.
guys. When you get the joy of just meeting one and being in the presence of somebody with Down syndrome, I think a lot of that fear will let go, and
Yeah.
you'll have a little bit more peace. So just reach out.
Reach out, ask questions, any question. Don't be afraid
Yeah.
to ask anything.
That was the best.
I'm sorry.
answer.
I get
I
so
love
emotional
that.
thinking
Yeah,
about like
that's
what
Because
a
I think
gift
that's what
we
people
are.
need to hear, right? That's,
Yeah, there's a real reason that they call us the lucky few. It's
You
not
are.
just a little cute tagline. Like, we are so lucky.
And I always
So
say,
lucky.
like, the parents, like, you were chosen. You are the most blessed parents on the planet because this special little gift was given to you.
I can't argue with
Right?
you. You're exactly right. Like,
The unconditional
Yep.
love. The,
Yeah.
You just,
Yep.
right?
I'd like to be humble and be like, oh, well, no, but
No.
you're
No,
right.
you're
You're
right,
right.
yeah.
So that's,
Yes.
you're lucky.
Yes,
You're
we
lucky.
are. We are.
You get them all day, or you get them in your life. I have them all day at school, and then
Yes.
So that's how
Yeah.
I get my fill.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you guys so
Yeah,
much
thanks
for
for having
being
us.
on. I'm a little sad now the kids popped in.
I
I was
know.
hoping
I was
maybe we can
surprised,
get
actually.
like a last minute like B-roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, them coming out and saying hi.
We might have to do that.
We should.
Well, thank you guys so much. I know,
you.
like,
Thank you.
just hearing your stories is so helpful to parents. I mean, you already know this, meeting them in person. Now this is going to be able to be shown to multiple families. So thank you
Awesome.
so
Yeah,
much.
of
Thank you.
Thanks,
We appreciate
guys.
you guys more than you know.
Absolutely.
And we
Thank
will
you.
see you guys next month. See ya. If you would like to learn more about Upside Down Mercantile, you can go to shopupsidedown.com or visit us on Commercial Street in Springfield, Missouri. If you have a topic you'd like to know more about, you can email them to info@dsgo.life.